we had to grow. So the first 2 years, it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20. We get 30 and we're like, we made it. Like we're popular. And then, because when we started, there wasn't a lot, like running wasn't as popular as it is now. Like if you're in this thing that we're in, this run club culture, run crew culture, like about the beginning of last year, it just blew up.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary.
All right, well, welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we're excited to have Vincent Holland with us today. He's the co-founder of the Oak Cliff Run Crew. He's also works with Tribal and Written by the Seasons, and we're just excited to have you on the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me. It's an honor. I've been listening to it. I love the recent one with Bettina, was it?
Yeah.
First of all, she had the coolest glasses on.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's such a
Bettina's-
cool.
she's
But I love
cool
the
cat.
story she shared about the being in Oak Cliff, the diversity and the different music coming through her house. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, man.
She continues to surprise us. She's been a member here for 6-7 years. I don't know.
For
Since the
sure.
early days of Wax Space, and she's lived in Oak Cliff for 35, 40 years. So
She stopped me the other day. We just went skiing and took my oldest son, who's just 5. We put him on skis. We're like, hey, just try it. And she was like, I learned skiing from my father, and I had leather boots that we would wear. He would put wax on it, and you would just tie them up to wooden skis. And I was like, Bettina, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
she was
what
like,
in
she was
the
just
world?
like, I was like, that was not what
She's so cool.
little Otto was doing. So yeah,
shout out
Anyways.
Bettina. We
Yeah,
love you.
yeah.
Well, I'm so eager to hear the story of Oak Cliff Run Crew and how that came about, because I had heard bits and pieces. I finally got to go out there and do it with you guys,
Yeah.
and there was hundreds of people there. It was this amazing experience. So can you tell us the origin of that? How'd that come about?
For sure. I saw you because I was doing like the intro on the truck, and you were just like looking around like, what is this?
I was just amazed, man. And it was really cool.
My favorite part is you saw like there's just like no thrills. It's just
Yeah.
we're hanging out right there,
Yeah.
and we're in the Founders Park. There's nothing
Yeah.
like too crazy there. Obviously, the bridge is incredible into downtown. It's one of the reasons why we chose to stay there. But it's just people running. Like people are always like, "How did y'all grow it?" And we're like, just running, like
Yeah.
just sticking to the basics.
Yeah.
But it started in about August of 2021. So the big reason why it started was because me and the other co-founders, like we all desperately needed community. Because as you guys remember, we were all going through a lot during
Man.
that time. So fresh out of the pandemic. And so Tribal was like the place where actually me and the other 3 co-founders kind of all met at the same time. So there's Ian, Patrick, and Haley.
Okay.
And so we were kind of all going through our stuff during the pandemic. And it just so happened that those 3 all had some kind of like either they had been a part of a run club or they had running backgrounds. And my background was more in like community and being involved in the community. And so as they were sharing with me, like my brain just went off of like, let's start a run crew.
Yeah.
And so having no idea what that even meant. One of the guys, Patrick, who does our branding, me and him in particular, we sat down at La Reunion and just talked about like what we would want it to look like and what we envisioned it being. We both had like a passion for like Nike run crews we had seen in New York or Chicago or LA. And so kind of our heart was like, how do we make that here in Dallas? Because we feel like Dallas is such a cool city, a lot of diversity. But at the time, we just didn't see what we were doing. There was run clubs and stuff, but most of them were like in North Dallas, or they just weren't what we were looking for.
Yeah.
And so we were like, the best thing we can do is just create it and start. And so we started with 4 of us. We met at Lake Cliff.
Cool.
And we would just run around
Nice.
that square.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember our first run, I could barely do a lap.
Yeah.
Which is 1 mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I did love about this. It was so open to runners of all types. Like you didn't have to be able to run 5 miles to join the club. You could show up. If you want to run 4 or 5 miles, great. Go with this
Yeah.
group. If you want to run a little shorter, come with this crew. It was
Yeah.
very open, but
Yeah, and that was a big thing because some of them, I said, like Ian had been a part of a run club in
Yeah.
San Diego. And so he had a lot of wisdom that he brought to the table of like how we should structure it, how we should organize it. Because when there's only 4 of you and you're trying to grow it, it's really hard. Like we're trying to post it on social media. I'm making horrible graphics. Like we're just trying to get the word out. And it's like, people are like, what is this? So like, you know how it is in the early days, like nobody wants, it doesn't look cool, but you're trying to make it look like something attractive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ian and the others expressed how like some of their experience was at other run clubs. Like they would say that it was open to everybody, like walkers, joggers. But then when you show up, inevitably, like you're getting dusted, or like you don't fit the like vibe of that group. And so then you feel like just like a loser, like you're just sitting there and everyone's running fast. So our big thing was like, let's really make it so that people could actually show up and hang. And funny stories like Ian, like love Ian. If it wasn't for him, like he's so good with people, but he's a runner. Like he was the one that was like really into running, and
He would always run so fast,
and I couldn't even keep up with him. And I'm like, how are we gonna have people come into our run club, our run crew, and they can't keep up with you? So we would give him stuff about that all the time.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah, it's you can sense the community when you're there. Like you were saying too, there's only 4 of you guys that co-founded it, but like I'm not kidding.
What's it grown to? It's like
so
hundreds
our peak this year or last year was 550. We have people check in, so like 550 people, and it was so stressful. Like there was people coming from all over the place because there's nowhere to park right there.
There's not a lot of parking.
So you would see people coming from like everywhere because people were like, where do we go? Where do we park? And that was definitely the most stressful day of this whole 4 years of doing this together. Like because you're trying to make sure people don't get hit by cars. You're trying to make sure people know where to go.
Well, it's a huge operation. You've got to like cross the street. But man, when we got it down now, because when I came,
started like we had dreams of it growing maybe 100. But I mean,
do people want the like urban kind of run? I could see people from traveling all around Dallas to come to this thing.
Oh yeah, we have people coming from Frisco, Plano, like all over the place. And like I said, I mean, we had to grow. So the first 2 years, it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20. We get 30 and we're like, we made it. Like we're popular. And then, you know, because when we started, there wasn't a lot, like running wasn't as popular as it is now. Like if you're in this thing that we're in, this run club culture, run crew culture, like about the beginning of last year, it just blew up. But we had already had a foundation. So like we already had a good group formed. And so when people started coming, it just like 50, 100, 150, 200. One of the girls from our run crew, Kim, shout out to Kim, she posted on TikTok and like 100 more showed up. And we're just like, what are we like?
How do we
like
do this?
Explosive growth, like atomic growth. Like I don't. And
which
so
is awesome,
we had to,
but
like,
also
start
like causes
forming
problems.
teams. We had to start like making teams right away. Like I love chaos. So the others are just like, what do we do? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. But let's have fun. Let's have a good time.
Oh man, that's crazy. So what does it look like for someone who just shows up for the first time? Like you said, everyone can kind of jump into different like routes, or is it kind of the same route? Or
so we used to have multiple routes we would run throughout the neighborhood, but again, it goes back to, well, if someone's not as fast as everyone else, they're getting lost in like Kessler Park, and we're like worried where they're going. So then we finally decided, let's do just this one route on the bridge so everyone can see each other. So we do a 2-mile route and a 3-mile route.
Nice.
And they all start together and we separate the groups. So the 3-milers will go first. They'll run into downtown and come back. The 2-milers will run the bridge and come back. And then if you're walking, we usually encourage you to like go with the 2-milers and then just kind of go out for 15 minutes and come back and walk. And we do have people that walk.
Wow.
Or we'll have people that are racing and running and they just want to recover. So they'll walk. So they still get to be a part of the community aspect of it.
Wow.
And it's this like beautiful view of downtown.
That's what you're saying.
Going down the bridge.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
It's a great
and we're
route.
real like we're so passionate about that bridge. We saw like when they were watching a Mavs game and somebody used the bridge on a commercial And we were like, man, they didn't even ask us for permission.
That's our bridge.
Because we're there, like I mean, not only do we run it then, but we like all of us run that bridge, like
just personally,
every week. Yeah, and then we have a group on Sunday morning.
Yeah, what days?
And
what
then,
days?
so we do every Thursday,
every
week. So 52 weeks a year, rain or shine. The only like couple times we've canceled was because remember when we had that weird like tornado situation?
Yeah,
that one year?
Tornado would be.
Yeah. So
I wasn't
like,
there for that one.
Yeah. If it's raining or helling, even like we're gonna show up, and if you want to run, like we'll run with you.
Yeah, you can do it.
But then Sunday morning at 7 a.m. at the same place, Founders Park, we have our like what we call our long run group, and long run can be whatever's long for you. So your long run might be 1 mile. 3 miles. So our encouragement on Sunday is start where you're at, but let's get you building up. And so we have people training for half marathons and marathons on Sundays.
So Thursdays, when is that?
Thursday at 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah, 7 p.m.
Yeah, and then Sunday morning at 7 a.m.
Cool. That's awesome. What a cool thing. So yeah, you were saying.
Oh yeah, Vincent. Well, so you've developed this awesome run crew, but a lot of that was marketing too, I would think.
Absolutely. For sure.
Talk me through some of your background in marketing and maybe how you applied that to this.
Yeah, so my background, like right now, I do marketing and work with Tribe All Day Cafe, Written by the Seasons, and some others.
Yeah.
I'm also just really passionate about marketing in general. Yeah. I love fashion. I kind of grew up just like in that whole world and that space. But our brand director, Patrick, he's the one who oversees like all of our photography and our Instagram and all of our brand collaborations. So that's why our page really stands out because like he has a particular style. He's brought on like Sam, Vanderforce, and others who have helped our team. But he's like our primary person driving that. And so back to like when we originally met, me and him, we sat down and we were like, okay, we want it to look like this. And we both know, okay, well, we have to show that to the community. But when you only have 4 of us, or a few of us, and then not everyone kind of looks like that vibe we were going for, which caused a lot of friction in the beginning because we're not all the same in that way. And that's the best part about our run crews. Like the founders were all different. And we can talk about that. But back to the marketing. So in the beginning, like me and Patrick would like literally go downtown and we would just photo shoot me and like the type of clothes or the type of stuff we wanted to see. And like it would even like I would tell him like, man, we gotta find some more people because I know I know people are sick of seeing me on here. But like slowly but surely, like as we grew, like we just started reaching more people like that had that like urban vibe, that different like the culture that we were looking for.
It's something you just said. You're like you kind of create what you're wanting to attract a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like you put out some of that. I could see that on your page. On that, you're going for like a. How would you say the look is? Like it's like urban, but
like our goal is like let's make it look like Oak Cliff. Like that's really what it is, and that's what happened ultimately. Like when you come now, it's like it looks like what y'all have here. Like you come in and there's different ages, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. So everyone's welcome. Again, like I'm not saying you have to dress a certain way or look a certain way, but we did want to reach a certain demographic that we felt like was missing in the space here in Dallas.
Awesome.
So you mentioned too 4 different co-founders, 4 different people.
Yeah.
How has that worked as like a strength for this whole thing?
It is definitely like our biggest strength because when I say we're different, like we couldn't be more different. I think like probably me and Patrick are similar in the sense of like things we like and style, but we all are different. We're from different places. Me and Patrick are from the Metroplex, but Ian grew up in the East Coast.
Oh, cool.
Haley grew up in Chicago. And so we all bring a different thing to the table, like just like funny stories. Like one year, like we were gonna do like a Christmas run. They're probably gonna hate me for telling this story.
No, tell it.
But like again, because I'm so like I mean I like to dress and be a certain way, and like I know it's not for everybody, but whatever. But like they wanted to do this Christmas lights run, and like Haley and Ian were voting on doing like the ugly Christmas sweater vibe. And by all means, like I have no problem with it, but I was like, we're not doing that. Like we're not. We're not doing that for a
co-founder
run.
veto about it.
And then like PK Patrick felt the same way. Because it just went, for me, it was like back to, well, then that's what we're going to like open ourselves up to.
Right.
Is this like, I got to be careful how I
We're
say
taking
this.
peppermint shots. We're
Again, like there's groups for that already. So I'm not saying one's right or wrong. I just
It's just
think,
not the audience you're kind of cultivating.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to solve this particular problem by meeting this space. And so the moment we veer from that, and so like that part is definitely more me and Patrick care more about that part and sweat over that part.
Sure.
But then you got like Haley and Ian, who are very good with people, very good with community. They have skill sets that me and Patrick don't have. I mean, Ian is the reason why we have so much of the structure with like, we did check-in. Like in the early days, I was like, we don't need to check in. There's only 4 of us. Like, he's like, no, we got to do this. And like now, thank God we have that because that ended up being very pivotal for what we do. He brought, we do a raffle every time.
Oh, wow.
So people literally love the raffle. We give away like cups like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
And people will fight over them. So like,
The check-in was seamless. Like you guys
Yeah.
clearly have it dialed
you
in.
experienced it. Yeah.
100% for that
And
many
so
people.
the
That's
differences
impressive.
really help too when you talk about like our vision to be diverse. Like if it was just like one of our personalities, it would be too much and it wouldn't grow. So I think like having the different personalities allows us to reach the different types of people that come to our group because there's so many different types of people that come. So.
Totally.
What has there been any like brand partnerships or groups you've been able to work with? Or
Yeah, we've
tell
worked
us more
with
about,
Nike.
Okay.
We've worked with Hoka, Asics. We work with several brands. We haven't like solidified and said, okay, we're this one. And that's just because we want to be open to be able to partner with different people. We're in talks about ideas of that. But we've done runs. We've led runs for these brands and these companies.
Wow.
We actually just got invited to speak us for at Dick's Sporting Goods. They're doing like a big thing for all of their employees in Texas and Oklahoma. So we'll be speaking to that group.
That's amazing.
So that part's really cool and unique. We've done some stuff in Austin with Nike.
Cool.
That was fun.
This episode of The Hidden City is brought to you by Oak Cliff Brewing. Celebrate Cinco de Mayo on Saturday, May 3rd in the beer garden at Oak Cliff Brewing. Enjoy tacos from Trompo Rey, micheladas, and live music from Trinity Rio Band, plus plenty of cold beer to go around. Go to oakcliffbrewing.com to learn more and check out their full schedule of events.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I know in our research a little bit, the Say Less project. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Say Less project birthed out of, I'm an ambassador for Asics, and so the program that I do with them is called Sound Mind, Sound Body. And so last year, it was about the beginning of April, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I lost my father to mental health stuff, and so like suicide prevention and all of that is like really important to me personally. And like because of that, I've seen how it's such a stigma still, and a lot of people still don't like to talk about it. And so for me, I'm very much like, I'm going to tear the wall down and make this like,
we're talking about it.
We got to talk about it because there's people like if the stats are true, there's people everywhere dealing with grieving over this, and they're just alone. And so I was like, I'm going to just put myself out there for these people. So I called a group of people, and the reason why it's called Say Less is because I had this weird idea at night. I was like, let's run from Dallas to Austin, and let's do it to raise money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I asked these people, and the mantra was like, they got to be able to say, like, the term say less. Like, you don't even got to ask me.
Yeah.
I'm
Say
in.
less. I'm in.
And so I asked this crazy group of people, and a month later, we're running from Dallas to Austin. And it was one of the craziest things I've ever done and the most incredible things I've ever done. I mean, we literally, a group of us, we just got in a van, and it's relay style. So you would run a couple miles and then change out and swap out. But none of us had ever done anything like this. We definitely had never been involved in a situation with this much pressure together. I knew everyone I asked, but the bonding was like for life now when you go through something like that. Me and my friend Noel, we got chased by dogs in the middle of the night in the backwoods of Texas. Because I was like, we're not going to get on the highway. Which now when I think about, like, I don't know if that was better because people drive just as fast on the backwoods of Texas, and there's less room. But we raised and the idea happened on out of nowhere. And we just did it. We raised like $5,000 for this charity. Awesome. Then we raised the money for the run. And so I thought I was just gonna do that, and now it's like a thing like that I'm doing, and I'm becoming more and more passionate about. And so now we got 12 more people doing it this year.
Wow.
Seriously.
And so yeah, we're gonna
Wow.
do that, and we're gonna. That's part of the like podcast thing I was telling you about.
Oh,
Like yeah,
nice.
we're gonna
Yeah.
do that, and just really talk about mental health and go as deep as people are willing to go.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Sorry that happened to your dad. You said, and so did you grow up without a father, or were you?
No, so
it was
luckily, like I grew up with my father and my mom,
Okay.
and I have a brother. And man, like really, I would have never have thought that this would be how this would happen. So that actually happened. So during 2021, when we were starting like
Man.
the run crew, like all of that was happening. I mean,
Oh,
I was
man.
going through a lot of life change,
Yeah.
stepping down from a career I was involved with for a long time, and other things. And so those three, I date one of the co-founders.
Yeah.
So, but those three in particular were like, I mean, they were rocks for me
Yeah.
during that
Yeah.
time. Because right around the time we met was around the time that was all about to hit ahead.
Okay.
And so again, it goes back to like the power of like being in community. Like if I didn't have the community and then running, like, a lot of runners will say that running is their therapy.
Yeah.
And by all means, I don't think it's like a replacement for actual
Right.
therapy.
Right.
But when you're running and it's just you and your thoughts, like I used running tremendously to get through that season of my life. I mean, I'd be on runs and just weeping on the highway downtown. People probably like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, not knowing, not having a clue.
Right. What's going on in your life? But
Yeah. And I even ran the 2022 Chicago Marathon for that charity,
Oh,
the American
man.
Foundation for Suicide Prevention,
Wow.
in honor of my dad. And that was such a big deal for me. I mean, I try not to get emotional about it, but I remember I was in line to take off for the run, and
You're good, man. Yeah. You're
this
good.
guy, he tapped me on the shoulder, and I was like, what? And I'm trying to like focus.
Yeah.
And I look over, and he has like the people that ran for that charity had like a certain outfit on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he
so
was
it's
like, me
identifiable.
too.
Oh, man.
Like I'm like, bro, I'm trying to go. I gotta
You're
go run
like,
26 miles now.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, you're like, don't do
he
this to me
just
right now.
He wrecked me, dude.
Oh,
like,
man.
Yeah.
because he was like, again, it's like that stigma. Like you don't. It's like you don't. I get it. It's like you don't want to wear the shirt that says "My loved one committed suicide."
Yeah.
And I, by all means, I think like if your heart is that you don't want to talk about, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think you should do that.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to talk about it, I think it helps other people because they need to. Like,
There's a community with that vulnerability, even talking about that. You're saying-
and someone may see me and think like, "Oh man, this guy he just has it all put together. He leads this run crew," and I'm like, I'm just like you, man. Like,
Yeah.
I have things going on in my life, and so I try to wear like my brokenness on my sleeve so people can see it because we're all going through stuff.
Yeah, I think it's better to talk about it, generally speaking, just because I think that, like you said, that's how you get connected with people that have experienced the same thing, or you give people the ability to say, yeah, I can raise my hand and say, I've had the same problems in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many, I mean, when we took off for the Say Less run, while I'm on the run, people are emailing because they're watching it on Instagram and they're emailing like, just lost someone to suicide. I've dealt with this my whole life. Thank you for like opening up about it. And that was like the biggest eye opener for me because even me, I'm the same way. I'll look at someone and judge a book by its cover and go, "Oh, this person, they're fine," not knowing that they're battling for their life every week.
Yeah,
Man.
dude, that's I feel like the community aspect. This is like very personal to you, the Oak Cliff Run crew. I mean, like, man, it's like, I mean, this the Say Less project, obviously, but like even like the ability for you to have this community and to open this up to Oak Cliff and for everyone to be a part of this community too is pretty special, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And you said that was, which marathon was that?
That was the one I ran for that charity was 2022. It was the Chicago Marathon.
Chicago. Okay.
So I did, my first one was New York, which I did like couch to marathon. And the co-founder, Ian, was the one who helped me do that.
Okay.
And so I did that, then Chicago, then I did Toronto, and then last year I did Sacramento.
Dude,
and I'm just going to keep
You're just going.
So wait,
yeah.
Earlier you said you could barely run a mile around Lake Cliff when this thing started. Now you're running marathons. What happened?
Well, like I've had stints. Like I used to have some dear friends of mine. We would run. I think we actually ran on Thursday. Now I think about it. We would run every week, but nothing like this. Like this is like the most serious I've ever done running. And then also the pandemic just wiped me out.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so when I met Ian, I wasn't really doing anything. I would go to the gym, but he's the one that got me into running. And so I mean, my first marathon, there's photos of me. I have like knee braces on. Like I remember that night. So funny story, like that day I ran the marathon. It was the only day that New York Knicks were playing at Madison Square Garden. And it was like my bucket list to go see them. Yeah. And so I was like, man, should I risk it? Like, cause I'm about to run this marathon. I've never done this. And then I got to turn around and go to the game. And of course I did it. So like I go, I run the marathon, I finish. I go to my hotel, I get an Uber, I go to Madison Square Garden, I sit down and I'm just like, I haven't even like fully come off the adrenaline yet. Yeah. And I'm watching the game and I'm just in awe of like, this is Madison Square Garden. I grew up watching this, the Knicks. Close to halftime, all of a sudden it hits me. Like I feel like I'm about to die. Like I was fading so fast. And so I got up and now I can't really move. So like I'm limping to the concession and I was like, they probably thought I was crazy. Like I was like, I need 2 beers and 2 hamburgers, like ASAP. Like I need carbs, I need something. And so I'm just like downing this stuff. I go back and sit down and I start feeling dizzy. And so like I had to leave the game early. Like so I leave, I get to the hotel, but the craziest thing happened to me. So it's like 3 a.m. pitch black. I get up because I need to use the restroom. I can't move. Like I literally couldn't walk. And I was about to call Haley, and I was like, I think I broke my legs. Like I think I might have really
damaged
myself.
Yeah.
And so like I had to get on the wall. Like I'm not joking. Like I had to get on the wall and like crawl on the wall to the bathroom.
Dude.
And then like in the morning I wake up and like she's just like, I don't like what do we do? And I was like, I don't know. So like I get down to the lobby. And I just start trying to walk, like, because in my mind, I'm like, it's probably just like I need to get the inflammation out. I need to move.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I tell you I was limping around New York, like literally limping, like going shopping, had my medal on because I was so proud. Like, everyone's like, man, I'll tell you, like, New York, they turn up for the marathon.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
dude.
it is
I bet the energy is electric.
I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, there's nothing. I would strongly encourage everyone to do it.
That's cool.
Experience
That's awesome.
The New York Marathon.
Yeah, the New York City Marathon. There's nothing like it. But so I did the New York City Marathon, and then the next year was the Chicago one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you mentioned earlier you work with Written by the Seasons and Tribal, and you've done a lot of different things with the crew over there. Can you tell us your story of getting involved with them?
Yeah, so Brent, Haley, Rose, I love them. They're some of my best friends. They were, especially Brent, like he was one of the first people I actually called when I was going through like the pandemic transition. So, and I've talked about this publicly, but I was actually, so how I came to Bishop Arts was because I was pastoring at a church and I was helping them launch a campus out of that church. And we started that. It's the same kind of story as like the Run Crew thing. So started it at this like Italian restaurant downtown.
Nice.
That's a whole story in of itself. So like I'm in downtown Dallas telling people to come hear the gospel in this Italian restaurant. People are like, "Wait, who is this guy?" I'm dressed how I dress. I'm doing my thing. And then
that's cool.
Then we had to move to a salon on Commerce Street. And that was like even more weird because it's like come to church in a salon.
Right.
And then finally, these brave people gave me a shot to get, y'all know the Bishop Arts Theater?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was having church services in the Bishop Arts Theater.
No way.
And it was one of the best times of my life. I have zero regrets. Like,
so cool.
We got to reach a lot of cool people. My
heart. Were you planting the church?
Yeah.
Or were you, okay,
well, I wouldn't call it a plant because like I had support from another location. It wasn't like I was starting from scratch. Starting from scratch as far as it was me, my family, and a couple people. Cool. but we did have support. And so
That's still
we
pretty
started with
starting
like a same story, like a few of us, and then there was a bunch of us.
Yeah.
And it was all like, my goal was to reach, again, in that setting, was like people who wouldn't go to church.
Love that.
People who might like be turned off by church or de-church. I didn't even realize how many people have been to church because I didn't grow up in church and I don't have a religious background. So as I started doing that, I was realizing like, wait a minute, a lot of these people, they're not going to church because they went to church and they don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to experience in
interesting.
Dallas because
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
like the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
And so
It's the belt buckle of the Bible
yeah,
Belt, right?
like I was in
Yeah.
Bishop Arts because of that reason. And so where were we going? I just lost my train of thought.
dude,
I
you're
mean,
good.
we were talking about tribal, but yeah, keep
Yeah, yeah.
going.
So
Just
I
keep
was,
telling the story.
one day I was teaching and I look up and I see this guy and he's like moving around. And so I'm thinking this guy, I must have flustered him. I must have said something wrong. Well, I end up connecting with him and this ends up being Brent who owns Tribal. And so we meet and he's like, no, man, I just was getting really into what you were saying. And I'm up there thinking like, oh man,
I said something
I
wrong.
have an angry church member. And so we walked into Tribal All Day Cafe. They weren't open yet. And they were one of the first businesses to open on that side of the street.
Yeah.
There were actually like none of that other stuff was even up yet.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
they were like the only thing.
Yeah, they
there,
were the only thing
basically.
there.
Yeah.
And so we're in there, Brent's walking me in just to show me.
Yeah.
And they were like having issues like getting open, just like you would with the business.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, let's pray right here, like in front of his like CPA, and everyone was just like, what? Like, so we prayed, and then the story goes like the next week, like, or in a week or two, they're opening. And man, like we've all been together ever since. Like
That's
even
awesome.
when
Man,
I
that's
stepped
amazing.
down from doing ministry, me and him had dinner in Bishop Arts.
Yeah.
And I told him what was going on, and like him and his wife and his team, they supported me, and then like we just kind of kept it going. But I also had an experience getting to bartend for the first time.
Nice,
Written by
okay.
the Seasons.
There you go.
So when they opened Written by the Seasons in Bishop Arts, I was like, you know what? I want to do this. Like everyone should bartend once in their life, right? So I really didn't have much of I like got to skip that phase as a young adult. I never really worked in restaurants. And so it was very humbling. Going from preaching on stage to serving migas in the cafe,
There you go.
to say the least. But I needed that. It was a very important moment in my life where I think like I needed to be humbled and see and get a reality check.
yeah.
And so I'm grateful for what happened in that moment.
I love that.
But working in the cafe and working with that team really gave me like really just like reminded me of how important it is to be in the community and in the streets and around the people. And so I started bartending, and I remember opening night, I didn't know what I was doing. And like, I'm glued. The other bartender, Chris, he made this like cheat sheet for me, and I'm just like glued to this thing, making drinks, like hoping, like if someone complimented me on my drink, I was like, oh, I made it.
You just made my life. Yeah.
And then I even had, because the way I am, I was like, I'm going to be the best bartender in Bishop Arts. Like, it lasted about 2 months. And then I was like, nah, I can't do this.
That's
like,
tough though.
No,
it's not easy.
Those people work so hard. I mean, the industry people,
Yeah.
like, it's a different animal. But now they opened up the new location in the Quad. Have you guys been?
I haven't been yet, but I keep hearing about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
I'm
you gotta
eager to go over.
It's really cool because it's different than the Bishop
You're
Arts.
talking
one.
Written by the Seasons?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Written by the Seasons.
Well, and then Brent was saying they're opened one up in Bentonville too, right? We're gonna be up there in a month or two. And
yeah, they're
check that out.
expanding,
Yeah.
and then the primary thing I do working with them is also the cold pressed juice.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so we're all
Yeah.
over the place,
Yeah,
like coffee
yeah.
shops, Central Market. We're currently in talks with a sports team about becoming their official drink.
It's amazing.
It's fun. It's really cool. I never thought I would be doing this, but it's been a really cool opportunity. And like a theme in that sense is like, just I'm grateful that like I'll work with these people and get these opportunities to do things I never thought I would do and try it and see if it works.
Man, I love that you're so willing to try new things too,
Yeah.
because I feel like you're going after stuff like full force. Like you're like, you know, starting the run crew, starting a church. Like, these are not small things to take on.
Yeah.
But you just do it.
I mean, I
It's
love
cool.
it. I think like I joke with my mom. I'm like, if I'm like, Lord willing, if I'm healthy, I'm gonna be like this till I'm 99.
I love it.
I
That's
want
a
to
good
be the old
mentality.
guy in the coffee
Who's doing
shop, like
stuff.
still
Yes.
dressed dope, still reading cool books. Like,
I love it, man. It's a
But
good
yeah.
vision.
That's a good goal for sure.
yeah.
This episode of The Hidden City is brought to you by Texas Talks, a monthly lecture series presented by Wax Space focused on sharing ideas for the neighborhood. Started in 2019 as a way to bring neighbors together to share ideas, learn from experiences, and expand the Oak Cliff mind. Check out the full library of past talks at thewaxspace.com/Texas Talks and join us for our next live event with Kate McLeod on May 16th at 9 a.m. at Wax Space.
Well, man, I feel like Oak Cliff Run Crew is going back to them again, such a big part of the story. Are there any stories from that have been wins or successes or kind of funny moments that have
Yeah, one
happened?
we're in the middle of right now. So one of our runners, Kara, she started with us early days, like running, and she grew up running, but not distance running.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget when we started our long run Sundays. I remember like just joking with her, like, you're gonna race like half marathon, I can see it. She's like, I'll never run more than like 3 or 5 miles. And I was like, all right. Well, that same year, she crushed the Dallas BMW marathon and qualified her first marathon for the Boston Marathon, which is like all of our goals as runners.
I was gonna say that is not an
and
easy.
then like placed, I think, in the top 20. I might something like that in the race itself. She's just an incredible human in general. She's a teacher. And so she's getting ready to run in 2 months.
No way.
The Boston Marathon.
Yeah. And
Qualifying
so-
times for that is
Oh,
not
it's crazy.
easy.
And so she's gonna go do that, and Ian and Patrick are gonna go support
Really?
her.
That's amazing.
And
Awesome,
get to
man.
see that. So that's one story that comes to mind. There's a lot of
So cool.
stories. Like one of my favorite things, man, honestly. So one of the things I love to do is I'll stand at the finish of the route and I'll watch people coming off the bridge. And like, like if you come off the bridge, it's just like, you're sweaty, you're high, you're just like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
But I've watched people literally transform, like the way they look.
Yeah.
Like they'll come in, they might come in a certain way, and like they start just getting healthier and taking care of themselves, and like watching people do their first race.
Yeah.
Like we just did. We did like a
Those big
cheer
moments.
station for the Dallas Marathon.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, I might be biased, but we were the best cheer station. So we
I
were
believe
like,
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I was
You
going,
see your crew going by.
yeah,
and you're
I
just
was
like,
going nuts. I had like the megaphone.
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
We had like these like confetti launchers.
Yeah.
And we were just going
Hyping
nuts.
people
and,
up.
Yeah. And every time I saw one of our run crew people come by, like their face, like
Lit up,
they were just so proud.
Man.
And seeing like there's also this guy Oscar and his wife Juanita and his family. Like he brings his whole family and they race together, they run together, they volunteer together. They're like, man, they're like the dream people you don't want to reach because they're from the city, they're from the community, they show up. And that's the other thing is like everybody says like they want to build community and be in the community. And I think like it's one thing to throw an event.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to like actually be in community where like it's every
Show up
week, we know each
consistently.
other's names,
Yeah.
we're going to birthday parties, people are having kids, people are getting married. Like
Yeah.
we're really in community, and it comes with its pros and cons.
Oh man, I mean, it's that daily. You're a part of it, no matter what sort of mentality. That that is the long, hard road, but it's the meaningful one, right?
Yeah,
It's the
and
one
the
that
weeks
counts.
you don't want to show up, because I'd be lying if I said there aren't those weeks, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
for
You know
sure,
the grind. You guys are building this thing. Like the weeks you don't want to show up are the weeks you're reminded of these people
Yeah.
who they show up. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, if they're showing up, like I've got to be there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And it's also like, I heard Patrick talking in this the other day about someone's like, I don't remember what I did on Thursdays. Because like
Yeah,
we've been
yeah,
doing
before
this
that,
every
yeah.
day,
This
or
is
every
it.
Thursday
Yeah,
for
yeah.
almost 4
Yeah,
years now.
yeah.
And and so it's cool. I'm trying to think of any other crazy stories.
Oh,
off
you're
the
good,
top of
man.
my
That's
head.
awesome. I mean, what's some of your hopes and dreams? Like, is there any like future kind of stuff you guys are looking for, or is it just like, man, just keep going?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to do our own race, and so like
Amazing.
I'm not going to go into too many details on that, but we are in the works of that.
I love it.
And it's going to be really cool, like an underground, unsanctioned type of thing that we want to put
So
together
cool.
for our crew. we would love to get to a point where we might have like a more organized way of training runners. Because right now it's very organic. And so we have people who like went from a 5K to their first marathon by running with us.
Wow.
And so we're probably going to try to figure out a way to make that more official. But we try to keep it. I think one of the things that has helped us be successful is we really do just try to keep it chill. Like
don't keep it too serious.
Let's just keep it to what it is. Like, because we were here this whole last year when running became real trendy.
Yeah.
And there was like run for dating and run for all these things. And don't even get me started on that. I just like, I was like, we are not like, it just like, I don't like the trendy stuff. Like, I get it. And the thing is like, they come and they go. Yeah. You'll see them come and go. And my thing was like, if we're going to be a staple in the community, we can't just be jumping on these things. Cause then people are going to be like, what is this?
Why are we getting yanked around?
And I've had literally people pull me to the side and like, tell me them that's like on everything. They're like, thank you guys for not.
Man, there's
doing
something.
that.
There's something to just being consistent. Doing. You're convicted at like, hey, maybe it's curated, but you're like, I know I want it to be this way, or we think this is good, and consistently doing that, and over time, community can build from that. Like, I think there's something versus the jumping from one way to the other. It can almost feel like you're getting pushed around on some of that stuff. I guess all that to say, I feel like with Wax Space, with some of the stuff we're involved with the community, it's like showing up, doing the stuff, like same with you. People start to kind of feel that rhythm and
creating a good experience that you don't have to impose what you want it to be all that much, because I think people will eventually enjoy it, continue to enjoy it for what it is. You don't have to be the runners for dating. People will go run and they'll have a great time running, and they might start dating, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
if they do by nature, that's great.
Exactly. You celebrate it, but you don't create this like...
you create the thing first.
Exactly.
And then, I guess that's you're imposing that way by saying like, hey,
you're creating,
this is what I think is important or good.
Right.
And I think if like, and on the opposite end, it's like if your conviction is that you want to do those trendier things, like you just better be ready to like pivot all the time.
Right.
Because the trends change all the time. And so
that's
we're just
a good
like,
point.
What are the cliches that are cliches for a reason?
Yeah.
What are the basics? And let's just stick
to
that.
the basics.
And like being like 100, like we've talked about this, like what happened? Because people have asked us like, are y'all like, what happens if like this gets shut down or you can't do this anymore? And I'm like, I'm gonna take a break. Like, I'm gonna go on a Thursday vacation for
there you go.
3 months, and then like we'll start again somewhere else. But I think like we don't want to stop. But if we did have to, and that's the other thing too. And I think you learn this as you fell, and you wrap your identity in things like your work or your relationships. And if those things don't succeed, hopefully you realize like, I run, but I'm not like a runner is not who I am. Like,
you hold that with an open hand. This isn't like, you're not overly wrapped up in that as your identity.
And that's the only way, like for me, I survive being like a pastor, do marketing, bartender, this and that. Cause it's like, I'm here to play. Like I don't, as long as I'm alive and breathing, I get to do whatever. Like I'm not stuck in a box having to do this one thing.
Dude, I love the passion. This is awesome.
This is good stuff, Vincent.
Yeah. Any closing questions? I feel like, this has been
fun.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Really just, love what you're building here and love the community that you're like inviting people into. It's awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for giving me and us the opportunity to highlight what we're doing in the community. Like I said, I love like the guests you guys have had. Like one, like Taylor.
Dude, Taylor's great.
I've done a couple of things with him in the past.
He's an amazing person.
And like what him and the 40 Cliff group are doing, and like the perseverance that they've displayed these last couple of years. Like shout out to them. Like just, I think it's important that we honor other leaders in our community.
Absolutely.
And like celebrate that like we can't all reach everybody.
No.
And like when we all do what we're good at, and we do it well and consistently, like that's how we make Oak Cliff better. That's
and how cool is it that we're all in this area? Yeah. Like I think that's the part that's been so fun seeing and getting to, I don't know, get to meet more and more people in this area and know them better. So thanks for being here, Vincent.
Y'all,
man.
For creating
it's
the
good
space.
stuff.
Before we go, where can people find out about Oak Cliff Run Crew?
Yeah, so it's Oak Cliff Run Crew on Instagram. That's probably like the best way for sure to just stay connected to us and what we're doing. So anytime we're gonna do a race or an event or merch, like we always post it on there.
Awesome, man. Thanks for being on.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend. And thanks so much for tuning in.